Ed Balls told off by Susanna Reid after comment on Lorraine Kelly's buns. Good Morning Britain presenter Susanna Reid was forced to step in after Ed Balls' comment to Lorraine Kelly about her buns. Susanna Reid had to intervene following a remark made by her co-host Ed Balls on Good Morning Britain today. The hosts were previewing Lorraine Kelly's forthcoming ITV program, during which Lorraine discussed her breast cancer campaign, encouraging viewers to self-check and identify early symptoms of the disease. This follows a topless photo shoot Lorraine participated in to raise awareness, with iced buns concealing her breasts. Referring to the campaign, Lorraine said, "Good morning to you. I have been getting my buns out, sorry about that, for a very important reason." In response, Ed told Lorraine, "Great pair of buns there, I thought." Lorraine retorted, "You needed big ones, Ed, considerably bigger ones." "They look like those buns have risen beautifully," he replied, to which Lorraine said, "They have, thank you." After an awkward pause as the camera returned to the Good Morning Britain studio, Susanna cautioned Ed, "You know we're on television," reports Wales Online. "I was just joining in," Ed said. He later said on Lorraine's show, "I'm on my best behavior, having said that your buns were well risen and being told off by Susanna on Good Morning Britain half an hour ago. I'm now being incredibly careful." This follows Lorraine joking that her team would be traumatized by her topless shoot, which was part of the National Check Your Boobs Day initiative within Lorraine's Change Plus Check campaign. She shared, "I just love this idea. It's cheeky and funny, and is a nod to the wonderful calendar girls. It also gave me the chance to say the iconic line, 'We're going to need considerably bigger buns.'" Live breakfast television has an unpredictable quality, a kind of tightrope walk between the serious and the silly. On one side, pressing politics, breaking news, the big issues of the day. On the other, the small talk, the laughter, and the occasional slip that becomes the only thing people remember. For Ed Balls, former Shadow Chancellor turned TV personality, that balance tipped firmly towards the silly side when he found himself being told off by his co-host Susanna Reid after making a cheeky comment about Lorraine Kelly's buns. It was the kind of moment that makes breakfast television both awkward and deliciously watchable. The setup. The incident unfolded during the familiar handover from Good Morning Britain to Lorraine, that cozy crossover where presenters exchange pleasantries, tease what's coming up, and generally keep the viewers warmed up with a touch of banter. Lorraine Kelly, ever the national treasure, had been chatting about a segment that was to feature a bit of baking. She mentioned her buns, in the most innocent culinary sense possible. But as anyone who has watched Ed Balls in his post-political career knows, his filter sometimes slips. Whether it's tripping over words or leaning a little too hard into a joke, he has that quality of a man still half astonished to find himself on breakfast television at all. And so, when Lorraine said buns, Ed's grin widened. He quipped something suggestive, playful, cheeky, but enough to raise eyebrows in the studio. Susanna's reaction. Susanna Reid, seasoned professional that she is, didn't miss a beat. She gave Ed a mock glare, the kind of look every viewer immediately recognized as the schoolteacher catching a pupil passing notes at the back of class. "Ed," she said sharply, with that mix of maternal disapproval and on-air authority. That's not what Lorraine meant. The reprimand was half in jest, half serious. Susanna knows the lines of breakfast television better than anyone. Playful is fine, but push it too far, and suddenly you're trending on social media for the wrong reasons. The moment had viewers chuckling, partly at Ed's mischievousness, but even more at Susanna's crisp, telling off, which left her co-host momentarily red-faced and scrambling to explain himself. Ed's defense. "I meant buns as in baking," Ed protested, hands raised in mock innocence. "Hot cross buns. Chelsea buns. Not anything else." The protest only made it worse, of course. The more he tried to sound innocent, the guiltier he looked. Susanna shook her head, Lorraine laughed, and the internet clipped the moment before the ad break had even finished. For Ed Balls, it was another chapter in his transformation from a heavyweight Labour politician to one of the most unintentionally comic figures in British television. His journey has been one of reinvention, and while some might mock him for moments like this, it's precisely his lack of polish that makes him oddly endearing. The Lorraine factor. Part of what made the moment so funny was Lorraine Kelly herself. With her warm Scottish lilt and reputation for being one of the friendliest faces on daytime television, Lorraine is no stranger to cheeky innuendo. But she also knows how to play the game. She laughed it off, widened her eyes with mock horror, and teased Ed back, saying something along the lines of, "Oh, Ed, my buns are just for baking."
It was the
Thank you
perfect
very
deflection,
much. Playful yet firm, leaving the audience in on the joke without letting it tip over into anything inappropriate. Lorraine, after all, has built her career on knowing exactly how far to go, and she wasn't about to let Ed Balls of all people pull her into trouble. Viewers' reactions. Twitter naturally erupted. Within minutes, the phrase "Ed Balls Buns" was trending. Some found it hilarious, a reminder that live TV still has those unscripted moments that can't be replicated by slick PR. Others were less impressed, rolling their eyes at yet another example of a male presenter going there with a female colleague's innocent remark. Susanna telling off Ed was the best bit of TV today, one viewer tweeted. Another wrote, "Lorraine's buns are not for discussion. Ed, behave yourself." Of course, many took the lighter view, with endless bun-related puns flooding the timeline. "Ed Balls is in a right jam." That was a hot cross comment. Someone better keep him in line. Why this matters. On the surface, it was just a silly moment. 2 minutes of live TV fluff that will be forgotten by tomorrow's news cycle. But in a way, it says something about how we watch and remember television in the social media age. The serious interviews, the policy debates, the climate reports, all of it can vanish from memory in an instant. But one cheeky quip about buns, that sticks. For Ed Balls, it's a reminder that no matter how many weighty titles he once held in Parliament, his reputation now rests just as much on Strictly Come Dancing, kitchen mishaps, and breakfast banter. And for Susanna Reid, it underlines her role as the steady hand on the GMB ship, the person who can wrangle politicians, prime ministers, and cheeky co-hosts with equal authority. The comedy of Ed Balls. What makes Ed Balls so watchable in these moments is his comic timing, intentional or not. He has that air of a slightly bumbling uncle at a wedding, good-hearted, trying to be funny, but always on the edge of saying something he shouldn't. He leans into it, too. After all, his famous Ed Balls tweet, just his own name, posted accidentally to Twitter, remains one of the internet's most enduring memes. So when he stumbled into the buns comment, it wasn't out of character. In fact, it felt almost inevitable. He has become that rarest of things in British public life, a former politician people actually like having around, not because of his gravitas, but because of his gaffes. The aftermath. By the time Lorraine's show got fully underway, the clip was already circulating. Susanna had moved on, Ed had recovered his composure, and Lorraine was back to interviewing a guest about lifestyle tips. But the ripple of that little exchange lingered across breakfast tables and Twitter feeds. Producers likely sighed, wondering if they would need to issue a statement clarifying that Lorraine's buns were strictly baked goods. But for most viewers, it was exactly what they wanted. A moment of silliness to cut through the usual barrage of bad news. Conclusion. Ed Balls being told off by Susanna Reid for his cheeky comment on Lorraine Kelly's buns may never make the history books, but it does capture something very human about live television. It shows how fragile that line is between innocent chat and innuendo, how quickly a studio can shift from serious to silly, and how much viewers relish those unpredictable sparks. In the end, no harm was done. Lorraine laughed, Susanna kept order, and Ed Balls added yet another entry to his growing list of memorable TV moments. As one witty viewer put it online, Susanna Reid is the teacher, Lorraine Kelly is the mum, and Ed Balls is the naughty schoolboy. Breakfast TV at its finest. And perhaps that's the secret. In a world of constant headlines and heavy politics, sometimes what sticks with us isn't the policies or the speeches, but the buns.